Mercedes sacked key workers after it was discovered that they utilized incorrect scales and models to construct and test the current Mercedes W14, resulting in the current track performances. Several of the four early leaders in the 2023 Formula One Championship underperformed in Saudi Arabia as compared to Bahrain. Others, such as Mercedes, made huge gains, jumping from 4th to 3rd place.
When you see this car being designed and developed, I go around the factory and you see car parts on computer screens.
It's one of the most exciting periods of time. I mean, especially to be able to come to Silverstone in February and we have a new car. It's like the most exciting part. It's like Christmas for us.
Despite the fact that Mercedes has improved, there is a lot going on behind the scenes. So much so that they chose to fire employees. Are Mercedes in a downward spiral, or will they be able to recover as soon as possible? Stick around to find out. Let's look into what's going on behind the scenes at Mercedes. Last year, Mercedes gained ground on Red Bull, thinking that the Zero Pods concept would go on. In the final 4 races of 2022, the W14 came close to the RB18, giving the Silver Arrows false hope about the sustainability of their concept. This bad notion was aggravated by development concerns throughout the winter, with the start of the season revealing Mercedes was on the wrong track, culminating in drastic adjustments in recent weeks. During the first race in Bahrain, Mercedes issued a letter to their supporters apologizing for their performance. It was properly met with shock and disbelief before the blame began to fall on Toto Wolff's shoulders. Some argued he should take responsibility for his actions rather than blaming others on the squad. Others stated that it doesn't matter what they say. The team's future was called into question. Instead, most of these questions were directed at Lewis Hamilton. Toto Wolff vowed that Hamilton would sign a new deal over the winter that would keep him with the squad until the end of the season. That never occurred. In Saudi Arabia, he even said that Lewis could be better off competing abroad if he wants to win another Drivers' Championship before ritiring.
He's going to be part of the rise again of this team, and therefore I have no doubt that we can continue the story. We rate him a lot, and we'd really like to have him in the team.
Mercedes is currently in a jumble of mixed messages, so rather than discussing Wolff's public breakup with his first love, Lewis Hamilton, let's focus on what really matters: the car's performance on the track. Mercedes' 2023 season has been disappointing, with even Aston Martin, a client team that uses almost everything of Mercedes' rear end, suspension, gearbox, power unit and hydraulics, substantially faster. The W14 has improved slightly since its difficult pre-season testing, but it still lacks a lot of downforces in medium, high and high-speed corners. This was made known to both Bahrain and Jeddah. We lack downforce, especially at the rear. The more stable that part of the car becomes, the more comfortable I feel with driving the W14, 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton has explained. George Russell made similar remarks, noting that our weakness is simply the lack of downforce, but we've definitely taken a step in the right direction. George Russell mentioned that the good measures are due in part to a flooring upgrade Mercedes implemented in Saudi Arabia.
Excited to drive the car for the first time. I think, as Lewis said, you see it in so many different regards. You see it first on computer screens, the front wing, the rear wing, every single tiny little element.
Toto Wolff summarized the recent W14 enhancements as changes which won't change the cards on the table, but we can start to take us in the right direction. The Jeddah upgrade package included a change to the intake region of the Venturi tunnels, which now has less curvature in order to improve diffuser performance. It worked well and was only worth 1/10 of a lap. Russell responded positively to the reforms, but Lewis Hamilton made no secrets of his displeasure. Lewis Hamilton, on the other hand, has blamed some of his difficulty on a poor setup decision, claiming that the W14 was too unstable in fast corners. But how does this happen? Could a team the size of Mercedes make such errors? After extensive study within the team, it appears that those specific people working on the wind tunnel made critical blunders during the winter, resulting in an incorrectly designed full-size automobile. This demonstrates that the W14 has been a source of concern for some time, with George Russell and Lewis Hamilton aware, even during the pre-season, that the first iteration of the W14 had not been totally satisfactory. Last year, we designed the W13 to run as low as possible, which was wronged. This year we thought it was too high, but now we think we know what the optimal height is, Toto has explained.
And on top of that, we knew why we had a black car 2 years ago, and it just came together. It's a little bit of our story last year, and they scratched off the paint and it ended up with bare aluminium and the car made the weight. And so we came back, we really tried to get the weight off the car in every single bit. And
when the team returned to Brackley following the Bahrain Grand Prix, there was a lengthy discussion in which every one of the technical management, including the technical director Mike Elliott, was questioned. After Bahrain, we had discussions about planning our future. In the short term, we will struggle to find further performance. Longer term, we'll focus on development, on trying to take Red Bull, said Toto Wolff. Over the winter, Mercedes remained confident in their unique zero side pod design. Nonetheless, 14 has shown to be substantially slower than Red Bull, with Fernando Alonso's Aston Martin outrunning them in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. Wolff spoke up on where the squad will go from there after the second round of the season, when George Russell and Lewis Hamilton finished roughly half a minute away from victory. If you look at the Red Bulls, they are just so quick. I think we understand the car more. I'm looking optimistically into the future. We just need to put in a different window, the Mercedes team boss commented. We're changing the bodywork of the car, how the floor works, all of these things. Mechanically, we're looking at certain areas. The team in Brackley is just flat out. Lewis Hamilton has definitely had enough of this misunderstanding and sought to explain it to an interviewer in Saudi Arabia in an irritated tone.
It's one of the most exciting periods of time. I mean, especially to be able to come to Silverstone in February and we have a new car. It's like the most exciting part. It's like Christmas for us.
People keep talking about getting the new side pods on the car, but it's not as simple as that. You put the Red Bull side pods in our car and it won't change a thing. It literally won't change a thing. It might even go slower. The side pods work as part of the overall package to direct air where the team wants it. If you just get someone else's part and stick it on your car, you'll ruin everything that is working. A changing concept has to go far further than that. But Toto has offered some background on the development shift. We headed in one direction last year and we wanted to have it work. It worked and it got better and better. But now, coming out this year, we really realized it's a dead-end street. These are the facts and everybody knows that now. So we turned around and we're running fast out of that dead-end street. We can see them at the front. They're just far away at the moment. The designs, as with other Formula 1 regulations, converge towards the fastest team for as long as the restrictions are in existence. This year's models have much fewer distinguishing traits than previous years. Why be innovative when it's far easier and safer to simply replicate the fastest scored on the grid? In the past, Mercedes believed that the best way to be the fastest team in F1 was to develop its own design concepts. Toto has stated that the squad is now discarding that belief, and if it means imitating the Red Bull design, he has stated unequivocally that the team would do so. I think at this stage we have no dogmatism of how the car should look, explained Wolff. It just needs to be the quickest possible race car. And if that car looks like a Red Bull or like SpaceX, I don't care. It just needs to be quick. And if it's a Red Bull, we will put a little ball somewhere with a sticker and I'll have no shame if it's quick.
it looks good. And I'm so happy that we've gone back also to the black livery, and we're going to talk about it in a second. Is she going to be as fast as she looks? I hope so, but definitely there is a lot of excitement in putting the car finally on the road. The Mercedes was put on track, the race car, it was white, overweight, which is a little bit of our story last year, and it scratched off the paint.
Wolff believes that the lessons of Aston Martin, which abandoned its original concept at the start of 2022, demonstrate the potential for progress after committing to a change of direction. Definitely what Aston Martin has done proves that within 6 or 7 months, you could gain so much lap time that it makes you play very much at the front. So that is good to see. It's good to see for all of us that you should never write off a season if these kinds of steps can be done. Wolff actually went into detail about this in a recent interview. He talked about how the chassis and monocoque might be where Mercedes look to make changes. They are the absolute bones of the car and would represent a true change in the concept. I think the monocoque is one thing that's obviously there are weight implications, the center of gravity implications. Where does the driver sit? More forward or more rearwards? We talk about minimum weight in Formula 1 a lot.
Because after 8 consecutive World Championship titles, we knew that there's going to be challenging times ahead, and hopefully it's just a blip in 22 and 23, hopefully much better.
The regulations require that your car weigh a specific amount, although teams will strive to keep the car under that weight. They can then add weight to shift the center of gravity, which is a big benefit. Perhaps Mercedes' huge lack of rear downforce is due to the car's center of gravity being too far forward. Toto continued, "But I think the biggest gains that we need to find is how we can extract more downforce all around the track. And these are the areas we're chasing now. And once you come to the conclusion in the next few months that that was the right avenue, then things are going to continue that way. And if we see that it's not enough to actually challenge for the front, then there might be more radical decisions that need to be taken." Mercedes, it appears, is aware that they've made a mistake in the car's core foundation. This will not be a superficial build. New wings and side pods, or even a new floor, will not solve the difficulties. They must reconstruct from the ground up, and that will take a lot longer than Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes supporters want. Should Mercedes have kept the people on board who were accountable for the massive mistakes? Can Mercedes be able to regain momentum next year if they produce a chassis similar to Red Bull and Aston Martin? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below.